Here with Jeff Duncan, as you mentioned, and Jeff, man, what a week it has been. What a 180 in weather we have dealt with. It was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. Today, Tropical Storm Hillary hits. In fact, right now, we can kind of hear, this is the most it sounded like it's rained all day right here. You kind of hear it outside the stadium. We're inside the stadium right now. And then an earthquake earlier today, right before kickoff as well. Feels like we've been here a month.
Yeah, and I tell you, the mamas and papas were wrong.
Yeah.
It does rain in Southern California, and who would have thought that we would be dealing with this type of weather event in Southern California? Such an unusual, historic occasion. Kind of crazy they even played the game tonight.
Yeah.
But they did. The Saints were happy to play the game. They were out here already, and they said they wanted to get the game in, and great experience for a lot of backups. But this is one preseason game we probably won't forget anytime soon.
No, and not anytime soon. And as you mentioned, they came in, they played the game, and look, it wasn't perfect, but they got the job done. A lot of players helped themselves tonight. Nico Lalos, Jalen Smith, even Lucas Kroll. But the guy I want to focus on is Kendre Miller, the third-round pick. Had a great catch out of the backfield, set up his touchdown run a few plays later. Had a couple of nice blitz pickups in the passing game as well. I thought Kendre Miller really flashed the potential that he could be for the Saints offense.
Yeah, I think it had to be great for Dennis Allen and the offensive staff to see him catch that ball out of the backfield. That's something they wanted to see from him during training camp in the preseason. And this is a guy, you can see the talent. It's just oozing out of him. Has to give them confidence now going into the season that they can now rely on him in addition to Jamal Williams, maybe veteran Darrell Williams, while the suspension is in place for Alvin Kamara. That's what we didn't know, is how much depth would they have there. I think Kendre Miller gave them some confidence tonight.
The catch was outstanding. The catch was outstanding. Fully outstretched arms, makes the catch, had a nice run, but I was impressed with the blitz pickup because in this offense, you have to pick up the blitz if you're a running back. Some other players. I thought Jake Haener had a nice bounce-back effort, and that was after getting knocked out for a couple of plays, what they thought was, I guess they were checking on the concussion symptoms. Yes. But I thought overall Jake Haener bounced back nicely.
This was the Jake Haener we'd seen in training camp, right? I mean, quick decisions, mobility, making plays happen, extending with his legs, and really I thought showed the kind of moxie in the pocket with this kind of pocket awareness that we've been bragging about, and he didn't really get a chance to show it last week in the preseason opener. We saw it tonight, and again, this is a guy that's coming on. There's no doubt he's getting more comfortable with the amount of reps he's getting. Tonight was a great experience for him. You can just see the players have confidence in the pocket and in the huddle. And this is a guy that I think the more he plays, the more comfortable he's going to get.
One thing that I know DA liked, something they've harped on, and they did a lot of it because they count fourth down, turnover on downs as takeaways as well. So if you count that, I think it was 5. You talk about the fumble recovery, the 2 picks, and the 2 fourth down stops. That's starting to become contagious with this team, and I think that's a good thing.
Huge point of emphasis, right? All training camp, we've heard about the lack of takeaways last season, how they're working on in practice ball drills, and it's starting to manifest itself in these games. That was a huge play early on with the sack strip fumble, by Peyton Turner, a guy that needed a big play, hasn't flashed enough, makes the big play, sets up an early touchdown. The Saints really kind of had control of things after that. That's the kind of play they were missing a year ago, and it's good to see it happening here.
Look, they, to me, completely outplayed the Chargers tonight, but it was kept close because of penalties. They were sloppy. Execution-wise, happens in preseason games, but 14 penalties is way too many in any type of game setting. I thought that was the one thing that really held them back tonight.
Yeah, look, if this were an outlier, you could just explain it away to all the backups in the game, but it's not. They had 8 penalties last week against the Chiefs, and we know it was a problem last year. I mean, this team ranked for a long time up in the top 5 in the league in penalties. They led the league in false start penalties, and we saw a bunch of them this week against the Chargers in the joint workout. So it's something that Dennis Allen and his coaching staff, look, I saw Mickey Loomis tonight in the tunnel walking out. First thing he talked about were the penalties. So it's definitely something they've got to work on, because as good as this offense has looked in camp in the preseason, it's not going to matter if they're 1st and 15, 2nd and 20 because of their offensive penalties.
A great week this week. It really was. We talk about the work they were able to get in with the joint practices with the Chargers. But joint practices next week with the Texans have been canceled. Dennis Allen said, D'Amico Ryan said they had too many injuries and wouldn't get enough quality work. But where do you think this team is right now? How are you feeling about this team right now?
Well, look, I think they're ready to go for the regular season. I think we saw that by how many regulars they rested. I mean, they basically rested the whole 2 starting units. I think Dennis Allen feels very confident where this team's at on both sides of the ball, especially the first team units. I think that the way they looked in this practice this week, this team, I think, can compete with some of the top teams in the league. I think Derek Carr gives them a confidence level that they didn't have last year or the year before. He settles everything down, gives them stability there. I don't think they need to see Derek Carr again till week 1.
30 seconds here. Dennis Allen is a much more confident head coach. I think it's starting to really, people around the league are starting to pick up on that.
Yeah, look, I think he likes his team a lot. I think he really likes Derek Carr and what he brings in terms of leadership. And I think he feels like this team is flying under the radar nationally. I think they like that. Those high expectations all those years, they're not on this team right now. They're not on the national radar, and I think they really like it. I think they think they're going to sneak up on people.
All right, Jeff Duncan, thank you, sir.
Sure, thanks,
Lon
Sean.
Kincaid, back to you in New Orleans.